Going. All right. Hello, everybody. Good night. It is the 10th of January in Dallas on Robot Builders Night Virtual for the Dallas Robotics Group. And we're going to do the usual thing, go around the table and share questions and status update on our builds. We also talk about contest planning for May. Briefly about the club, free to attend for everybody. You can keep up with the latest meetings and such. Contests usually posted here. Membership's not required, but a lot of the regulars do chip in. That helps cover costs. DPRG is a formal 501c educational focused thing, but you're welcome to join every Tuesday night. We've been doing it online since COVID started, and then every second Saturday of each month. Most of those have been online, but we do some in person too. A little bit of housekeeping. We have some long-standing things on the left we have to get around to sooner or later. The big ones coming up in the near future are on the 14th of January, Iron Rain, which is a first robotics team from Dallas, southern Dallas. They will be presenting again. They gave us a pretty cool update in late December. We shared some feedback, so I'm really excited. It'll be fun to see just how much progress they could pull off over the holidays. And if you've never seen them before, these kids are inspiring, and what they do is, well, it can be either motivating or demotivating depending on how advanced you are, but they often stretch the limits of what a lot of guys can do. And then on the 21st of January, Seattle Robotics Society will have a presentation that they've invited us to. So we're more than welcome to jump in on that. I should put a link in there, I suppose. Anything else at this level to touch on? Okay, having said none, so we'll just do the usual here on the table. We have a small queue to start off with tonight. We have Ray, then Doug D, then Doug P. In the last one there, we'll start talking about contest ideas and participation from May. So, Ray, how's it going? What's up?
Good. I got it's another one of the ESP32 boards. This one has a capacitive touch 340 by 480 display on it. And I don't know how well we're going to be able to see this.
And what's the use case of that?
What?
What is that? Is it I don't know what I'm looking at.
Oh, it's basically a board with an ESP 32 on the back, this part right here.
Oh, okay.
And on the front side, it's got you pretty much use it for, kind of a man-machine interface type device. And let's see if I can get this so it doesn't reflect so much. Anyway, this is a capacitive touch screen, and I think I can highlight some of the things on it. Okay.
Wow.
Anyway, so there's several different screens on it, and they have some interactive displays. Yeah, that one I think you can see pretty good.
Oh, that's cool.
So how much does it run?
Say it again.
How much does it cost?
I think this one was, around 22 or 23. Anyway, there's ones with, less resolution and resistive touch, but I always kind of like the capacitive touch, and it works fairly well. So you can do, and you can program it with a bunch of widgets, different gauges of different sorts. I think maybe that's the end of that one.
Okay, could you put the site there on the list?
Yeah. Anyway,
Very cool.
so whoop, a message came up and blocked my little cube. There we go. Now I can see myself. Anyway, there's like a third one. It kind of simulates like a website. You can, I don't think you can select any of these, but it's just basically the kind of things that you could do for, kind of like, I don't know what you would call it, not telepresence. Telemetry was the word I was trying to think of. It does support the, it's got Wi-Fi. You don't necessarily need that to do telemetry stuff, but you could do ESP now, and it's quick. In the bottom there, it's showing. It's pretty hard to see, but it's showing the frames per second, which right now is 66, and it's showing the percentage of CPU usage, which is like about 48%. But anyway, so you can show, different graphing functions and that kind of stuff, or
So is this
variables on the.
Is this more akin to, say, a Raspberry Pi? Is it running Linux, or is it closer to what an Arduino is?
Yeah, no, it's not. There's no operating system involved. It's just running. You have like an SDK, and you can choose different, basically different. I think they're referred to as widgets. To do graphing functions, and to display variables on charts and that kind of stuff. Or you can just do straight text.
So in capability, it's kind of between an Arduino and a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, the ESP32, it's a dual core, I think up to 240 megahertz, I think, for the cores.
Oh yeah, I think it's a lot faster and a lot more memory.
Yeah. Ray, is it, since, Wi-Fi is one of their main features, are you looking at essentially a web server, and you're serving up widgets on a web page? Is that what's going on? I think what John's trying to get to is how do you program this thing?
Yeah.
What language?
There's like an SDK, and you just, you select the widget and what variable to associate with it. Like if it's a graphing widget, so you send it basically a stream of what those values should be, and it would update it accordingly. So you're
sounds like a web page. I mean,
yeah, but it's not really a web page. I mean, there's no URLs involved, or
no.
Are you programming in HTML or some other language?
It's
HTML,
not really
C,
HTML. It's kind of like I'm not certain if they have a name for it. I know in the wiki, it's just referred to as an SDK, and you select out of a pretty long list of different.
Yeah, in other words, it's not a generic programming language. It's an SDK. You program in an SDK specific for this device.
It's a builder.
Yes.
It's a builder just for this device.
Yeah, not usable anywhere else.
Yeah.
Not really, no. So you're just trying to format, what's on your screen and where it shows up and the size of it, and what data to display and how to display it, that kind of thing. So it's, I don't know, for the price, I don't know. I was just kind of fascinated by anything with a display on it, and
the display that big for $22, it's a deal.
Yeah, pretty good. 480 by 320.
It doesn't take anything special. It doesn't take anything special. It doesn't take anything special. You're just hooking it into power supply, USB, and it's happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anybody, if you didn't have, is there any, can you put like a 5-volt supply separate, or a 10-volt supply, or do you have to use?
There is a battery connector on the back, but I'm assuming, you'd probably, if you didn't have a battery, you'd have like a battery pack and a USB cable, short cable.
Can you?
And on the back, it's got I think 3 or 4. No, it's got 4 different small connectors, kind of like the. I can get that in front of. That's
Yeah.
one of the connectors
Oh, wow.
for an I2C interface or for a UART interface. There's one, they just have some digital pins and some analog pins brought out, so you can read some value if you wanted to. But there's a lot of it is taken up. It's got an SD card. A lot of the pins are basically taken up by the display and the touch screen and the SD card socket and all that kind of stuff. So it's not like you have a lot of pins available, but I think for, it's at least got, UARTs and I2C that are readily accessible to the back.
And also Wi-Fi, right? And also
and Wi-Fi. Yeah, you could do it all wirelessly.
Mhm.
Or ESP now if you wanted to.
Yeah.
It's got a NeoPixel on the front of it. That's that red dot right here.
Any buttons?
Yeah, there are 2 buttons in the back. And I think, don't know what the function of those is yet.
But you can use, I guess you can write buttons on the screen if you had to. Directions.
Yeah, you could do like a touchscreen button. But, it's pretty slim, pretty compact. So I thought it was kind of neat. Like I said, I have a, HMI fetish, I guess, human machine interface kind of stuff,
You're just trying to forget the perfect chick magnet. That's what it is, right?
That's what it is. But, yeah. So it's similar to that, but that one had, you had access to a lot more pins. It had a 40-pin connector on it that you could actually stick on a Raspberry Pi if you wanted. But this one does not have that.
Okay.
But anyway, so that was one of the Chris, I don't really need this Christmas presents, but got it anyway. So
Yeah.
And it was only $22 for 23.
yes, very cheap, very reasonable.
Well, it might make a very fancy and functional capacitive control panel for a robot.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you could set up a bunch of buttons and whatever, program in GPS coordinates if you wanted to, or
Well, I think Ray is on to the right thing with this chick magnet, in that it's very hard when you got a robot on running around to actually get useful information from a display. You can do a few LEDs or something like that, but to go around and reading like, is the angle right or whatever, that's speed right, that's all pretty tough. So having it on your wrist is a good idea, because you don't want to be tied to your computer either. Because in a lot of places that's not going to work.
Yeah, this is pretty hard to see outdoors with my laptop screen. So
yeah. So
did I miss something, or is it just have its own SDK? It's not really programmable. Can you get that information in and out of it?
What do you mean? Yeah, you can. Yeah, so you basically like in
You press a button and respond to it somehow.
Yeah, you can send data back and forth. You
Okay.
can read buttons on the. You can make like touch screen buttons if you want, and have it do different things. And
That does sound cool. Don't forget to put the link in the chat.
okay. Yeah, I was looking for it. I got to find it. I thought I bought it on Amazon, but I looked at it. And either that or I not including. It's a fairly long part number, so. But anyway, yeah, there was a
$22 for all of that. Like that's pretty mind blowing.
Yeah, it's pretty reasonable. Like I said, 320 by 480 capacitive touchscreen, ESP32, several interfaces brought out. It's a little bit less expensive than now I forgot what the part number of the chick magnet was, but less expensive than what the chick magnet is. It's the WT 32 SCO1. Here's the box for it. So, but that was what I actually used.
What's that number again? Can you hold it
Well,
up there
oh,
steady?
this
We'll get a
is
picture.
for the thing that I used before, not this
Oh, not
new
this
thing,
current one. Okay.
not this. But I've got to look it up, find it out.
Yeah,
Anyway,
He
that
doesn't
was
want to tell us. I think he doesn't want to
Yeah.
tell us.
it's
Yes,
mine.
he's hoarding.
I'm not
it.
sharing. No, I'll look it up in a second. But anyway, yeah, I was just kind of fascinated by it. It's like, I don't know. It seems like a lot of this stuff, even just a few years ago, would be unheard of to be able to get something with that much processing power and, relatively, large screens, capacitive touch for so cheap. So
There's a lot based on the ESP32. I mean, in a way, you could argue that it's overtaken the Arduino for what's out there, because you got the ESP32 cam where they attach a camera, and for $10
Yeah.
you get an ESP32 and a camera, and it can run like computer vision.
yeah.
I mean, and it's got enough RAM and stuff to drive these bitmap displays, like e-ink displays or OLED displays. So it's got enough horsepower to do that, and it's got the decent connectivity too, and a lot of good support out there. So they're
Yep.
really,
Wi-Fi, Bluetooth,
yeah.
ESP now.
Is this the WT32-SC01?
No, that was what I based the chick magnet on. That's the case for it, and a little photo
Okay.
in there. But that's not the part number for this one. I was trying to look it up before I got on the meeting, and
So
like
what's
I
the
said,
box?
either
What's the box say? Oh, you don't have it. Yeah.
yeah, this just came in a clear box. There's no part number on it. So I've got to look it up, but I'll do that here in a second. But
Okay.
anyway, yeah, I thought, just show it to you guys, and people have made little kind of acrylic cases for it and that kind of stuff, because it's everything's kind of exposed on the back, so you got to be careful about that. But and I haven't seen if there's any 3D printed cases on Thingiverse yet there, but there probably is. It seems like whenever this stuff comes out, somebody's already designed a case for you. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and that's where I got the case for the the WT32 SC01 that I used to, as the wrist thing, the chick magnet.
Mhm.
But anyway, that's all I had.
Okay. Well, cool. Good update. Yeah, if you could post that link, you got us at the chomping at the bit there, Ray. So you just got to share the link now, or
Oh, okay.
we're going to come
I'll find it
hounding
here.
you next time we see you in person. All right, so that takes us to next in queue. We have Doug D, and after that, contest discussion hosted by Doug P. So, Mr. Dodgden, what the?
So I've gotten interested again in text to speech and speech to voice recognition, and I'm looking pretty seriously at doing Pico voice. And I didn't know if anybody had any experience with that yet. I did notice that one of the things they had that looked pretty good, they deprecated already. So that makes me worry if it's worth the time to even mess with it. Nobody's used it.
Pick a voice. No, not that one. Is it which way is it? Both directions or one direction?
It's both directions, I think. It I could be wrong. It does wake word recognition, and then it does voice command recognition, where you can say, "Hey Siri," and then turn on lights. So the "Hey Siri" is the wake word, and "turn on lights" is the command function. And it has both of those free and don't require you to be connected to the internet to use it. So that's two of my requirements, because I want my telepresence robot and my harp robot to be able to respond to commands. I'd also like them to talk back to me, but that seems to be a lot easier to pull off. I know there's a number of voice or text to voice type things. But this looks like the best of the wake word and command things that haven't been set aside. It's like companies tend to come up with these, and then you either have to be attached to the internet to use them. You send them a packet and get an answer, which I don't want to do. It takes too long. And the other thing is they try it for a while, they gather some information, then they go away with it, so it's not functional anymore. So that was just it. I was wondering if anybody else had played with it. I'm probably going to start playing with it.
That sounds like a good project, Doug. I mean, that's it could be very useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something I've been wanting ever since before I joined the club, but
Yeah.
I'm finally going to get around to it because I'm just not really good with hardware. I may get back to that hardware again. I don't play with software for a while.
It might be nice to program it with, like, you know, if the robot goes haywire and starts running circles and you can't catch it, shout power down, power down.
Well, first you have to say robot, power down.
Yeah.
You got to give it the wake word.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like Alexa.
So that's an interesting concept. You say there's companies out there that create a product with the underlying intent really to create a large database.
That's my thought.
And
I
they're
haven't
not
seen
really
that.
they're not really interested in supporting the product beyond that.
Well, that's my opinion based on seeing them come and go.
It could be also, though, that, you know, there's been a lot of press lately about how much money Amazon is losing on not the Acer. No, it's not Acer.
Alexa. Yeah.
Alexa. How much they're losing on Alexa. It could be that it's not a very tempting market for a lot of companies right now.
Right. If they're not making money, what to do it to them?
Yeah.
Like Pico Voice is free for basic usage. You can pay if you want to do a big multi-thing industrial deal, but you don't have to for what I want.
Okay.
Sort of like VNC, it's free and I'm using it, but when will they decide they want to start getting paid?
Yeah.
Well, they'll take your payment now.
Yeah.
So they still have the freemium to get in there, thankfully.
Yeah.
VNC's been going on about 20 years now. So if they were going to dump out on you, they would have done it already. I have a feeling.
Yeah, right.
We can hope.
Hey, Harold, it fixes audio problems.
Yeah, something like that. I don't think it's complex, but probably much more complex than the average person, aside from Carl, setup going on here with mixers and multiple things. I probably have like 27 input devices for audio on here. If one of those gets out of sort because of a reboot or some other weirdness that Windows haphazardly decides to reset things to defaults on occasion, and if things go crazy like that, sometimes I was basically feeding in the mic. It was feeding in the mic that was feeding into you, from what I discovered last time after I got to playing around with it. And of course, that was a whole bunch of
That'll do it.
constructive interference, which is not good for anybody, including me. But anyway, I'll shut up.
Hey, his audio stopped working.
Oh boy. So what about Doug? I'm thinking, the thing about Alexas are that they require the internet connection. What about something like get an old Android phone that has voice recognition and use it as the voice API into your bot?
Yeah, but then I have to figure out how to attach to that Android phone. I know there's ways to do it, but I would have to learn how to do it. I've thought about that because that's got GPS, MCU, and all them other kind of fun things already attached too.
That's the
It's
thing.
a really inexpensive device, but you have to learn how to attach to it.
Yeah. Okay. I just thought I'd put that out there.
Yeah, that's all I had was to talk about that.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, we can't wait to see where it goes. Okay, so next in queue, we had Doug P. Before that, a quick check. Does anyone else have some things to get into the discussion queue?
I might have something to share real quick.
Good. We got Michael and James. All right.
We discussed these little motors, motor drivers. TB 661 TB6612s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try one of these. I've never tried one. I soldered it where the chips on the bottom. I don't know if that's gonna overheat, but this is just for a test deal anyway. The reason is because they label them.
Yeah.
The labels are on the back. If you put the chip on the top, you can't see it. You know, you have to refer to the data sheet. So anyway, I soldered them upside down so I can read the label. Now, my point is, I'm going to mount this with a little battery compartment and one motor. And I'm going to use this as my kind of a portable test bed to take with me when I go out of town and stuff to mess with my code for that six can competition. I can play with this to get my put a little sensor on there and just use it to kind of get my code going. So this is going to be kind of also I got kind of a part-time job and sometimes I got time on my hands. So this is going to be just a little thing I take with me and plug it into my laptop, and I don't have to take the whole robot with me. So that's all I got to share.
Cool.
Dev Kit on the go.
Huh?
I was thinking
Dev
about
Kit
playing
on
with
the
those-
go.
You're on the go, man. I might market this.
Playing with those myself.
Well,
I was
that's
wondering
the
what
TV
sort of current output will they handle for the motors? They're an awfully
Two-
small chip.
It's two stall current, I think, max. Isn't that true? It may be right if somebody knows, but I think it's like 2 amps
Okay.
max. But these motors don't. You know, you really have to put some torque on them these run probably about a half amp most of the time.
Yeah, I was thinking about using the 12 amp Pololu, and they'll take a little more. I didn't know if they would burn that chip up.
The real nice thing about these is they're like $4.
Yeah, I've actually got a couple I was planning on
Yeah.
using. In
I've never
places.
used them before, so that'd be kind of a neat little thing.
Yeah,
you
keep us posted.
you bought a whole board there though, right? Not just the chip.
Oh, this board is just one of them development shields you just plug into Arduino. Arduino's on the bottom.
Okay, so so the TB6612, that's my go-to part for is my custom motor driver I built around that TB6612 chip.
Okay,
So I've used it in several designs already.
that's pretty nice. I did this so I could just plug it into the Arduino, you know. And
Can you drive those motors with just like was it a Pololu 4498? Like, does it?
uh-huh.
Because those do almost 2 amps, I think. And I have some of those.
I don't know.
Do you know if those 4488s, are they stepper motors drivers or are they?
They're stepper motor drivers, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, the difference is, you can use a normal double motor driver
Yeah.
to drive a stepper. So I would imagine I think that's basically two H bridges, but they may have some features that are used when they're connected to steppers that might make it a little more difficult than some of the other ones that are just made for brushed motors.
Oh, they're just brushed motors. Oh, okay. Never mind. No, that wouldn't work at all.
No, you could probably make it work, but it might be a little more difficult.
Sure.
Because I think that if the circuit wise, I think they're just 2 H bridges.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the 6612 is 2 H bridges, but there's a bit more than that because I think they've got overcurrent protection and thermal protection built into the chip as well.
Yeah.
Now that prototyping shield that I put on here, that's $10. So, but they're real convenient if you're just messing around trying to, fiddle with some code, just trying to mess with some code a little bit. So, I wonder if y'all, what do y'all think about soldering that upside down?
Shouldn't be a problem. Shouldn't be a problem for that motor.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you
That
should
way
be
I
okay.
can see the labels on the pin out.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think you'll be stressing that on that particular motor. Like, I think you're right. I think it's about a half amp.
Yeah,
You know,
the,
especially. Yeah.
I've got the spec here for the 6612. It's continuous output current, 1.2 amps, and it goes to 3.2 amps peak.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So it'll take some heat then.
Yeah, well, it'll also shut. You know, I'm sure it's in there. It'll shut down if you have trouble. It'll shut down.
Yeah,
You won't break it.
Built-in thermal shutdown and low voltage detection.
Cool. Well, that's all I got.
Oh, and you can run the power supply voltage, the voters supply up to 15 volts.
Oh, that's cool. Those what are those other ones? I forget the name of those popular ones. But these they don't have a lot. The efficiency is real good on these compared to what is that I keep forgetting the number on that.
298.
L298.
Yes, L298 is like about a volt and a half goes straight out of heat into the heat sink. And this doesn't have any of that. Doesn't have that problem. So
yeah.
All right.
Oh, cool.
Okay, I finally found this. With shipping, it was $20.47.
Was it AliExpress or?
Yeah, it was. So the base cost was $15.12. Let me see here. I can can I grab the screen for a sec?
Okay, just put it in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, while you're doing that, so then, James, do you want to jump in?
Sure. I had a little chance to work on my Rubik's Cube solver.
Oh, yeah.
And, can anyone see this?
Yes.
Whoa.
What this is a test stand, and you got 4 stations there. And let me give you a side view here. There's 2 servos per station.
Mm-hmm.
One controls rotation. The other one is a plunge servo. And if you look underneath, you can see it rides on a rail on this part right here.
Mm-hmm.
There's 4 what they call V rollers, and they ride on some G rail. So the plan here is that I'm out of them all here so I can start testing them. And I got to set up the midpoints, the end points, the plunge depth, and more importantly, I want to develop some of the software that I use. That'll be a different software that I use on here. I located the site on the internet that has the software that I want to use, but they use a totally different setup. So I kind of designed my own here. There's a Rubik's Cube here in the front that I got to get the distance between the front of the Rubik's Cube and this right here. And I needed something to grip the Rubik's Cube when I turned it. So you see these little black streaks right here? Those are some ladies when they do a ponytail or something like that, they put their hair up on those, and they work out ideal that you can snap around the holders, like this one right here, and there's just enough grip on there that'll hold the Rubik's Cube pretty firm, but still let it room for it to turn. So the plan is that as I get time, I'll go ahead and start working on the software. And my intent is I looked through all the sites that develops Rubik's Cube, and I found a guy in Portugal that it kind of was doing the pattern that I wanted to do. He doesn't have this kind of design. So what I'm going to do is, for you guys that wasn't here last week, is I'm what's known as a high handicapper when it comes to writing software. My prior experience was more in the system engineering world and not in the software. So I figured the best way to get into this is find someone that has written the type of software that I want to write. And this would be in C++ that I start out with. My plan is to write the software in C++. And there's only one little problem. He lives in Portugal and the software is all done in Portuguese. So I got to find an Portuguese to English translator to sort out the function names and the class names and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, so I'm making progress on this slowly, but I'm getting there.
James, do you have an Apple phone by any chance?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you have if you have Google Translate on
Yeah,
Apple, you can read it, all that stuff.
That's the exact thing that I found.
Yeah. Yeah. I use that when I get buy something on Amazon that's got Chinese instructions. I use that to interpret it. It's all very easy to do. So you just take your camera and hold it over it, and it'll show it. Now, why are they all in a line like that? Is that just a test stand, and you're just trying to set four identical stations?
Exactly. It's a test stand, and all this will come apart as soon as I do some testing and set up the servos and the controller, and I'll write some basic classes for to control each of the servos, rotate, plunge, and stuff like that. So it's easier just to develop in here because I don't have to fool around with putting everything together and have a Rubik's Cube in the center.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I'll take it all apart and put it back together in its final configuration. And rather than build it in a vertical plane, I'll build it in a horizontal plane where it will be 4 stations all in the horizontal plane. So that's the plan at this point anyway.
Sounds good.
But the reason it really came out that way, this is the parts that I happen to have on stock, and I was trying to use the parts that I had rather than go back and have to buy more parts. So that's all I got, Carl.
Getting four in a row like that, if you doing it with the sparks you have on land, that's pretty good. I don't think I could do that.
Yeah, you could. It's easy.
Yeah. Really nice.
Cool. So Doug, I'm going to sneak in with a couple of little quick things. The first
just
for Doug. For John. Sorry, John. I found this project on recognizing car license plates using Python. I don't know if it's of any value to you or not, but I just put the link for it in Slack or chat. And then the other thing, which is a saga unfolding. So I've had this little, it's not robot-y thing, but I've had this little Bluetooth adapter for my car for the audio, and it wasn't pairing. So I took it apart and I figured out that the little switch was starting to come loose. So I'm going to solder that down here. But then I noticed that there was this funny kind of lint-looking stuff that showed up. I looked a little closer, and wouldn't you know, but an electrolytic has decided to go. It was still working, but anyhow.
Yeah.
So many things to fix. It's just nonstop, isn't it?
Yeah, that must have been a filter capacitor. Yeah.
Yeah. No doubt. But it's still working, so
yeah.
Who needs it? It's an optional part.
Yeah. I do that a lot of times, Carl, when I take something apart and put it back, and I have 5 extra screws. That's all.
Yeah, they
that's
were
fine.
over-engineered.
Thanks for that link, Carl. That looks interesting.
Okay, good. Yeah, I just stumbled on Flipboard or something today, so I don't know if it's of any value.
Yeah,
There it
and
is.
actually, it's very similar to second generation idea that I had that I pursued partly for that project. Is it looks like they're using OpenCV to detect the plate, which I got partway through doing all on my own. The problem is in the character recognition and using Tesseract. I ran into trouble there.
Okay. Yeah, well, hopefully it's of value. Well, that's all I had. So are there any other short things before we dive into a potentially longer discussion?
Can I show you some?
Ray back, and then James. How about that? Doug P, you're just so patient.
I don't care. I mean, what I'm saying is, what I got to do, it will probably take a while. So we'll.
Yeah. Ray.
Okay, I found the screen that I wanted to show you. Let's see, where is it? I think it's there. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, that's a selection of the various widgets that you can add. So, everything from, step buttons, increment, decrement, joysticks, timers, sliders. Look like here, there was even a terminal that you could do. That'd be kind of curious. Text input, numeric input, all kinds of things to do. It said you could also do it in Scratch, but I don't think anybody here does Scratch programming.
Oh yeah,
and
why not?
For some reason, this keeps coming up. I think in Portuguese for some reason. I have no idea why. But I've selected English multiple times, but no habla español, I guess.
Lorem ipsum is not Portuguese. That's Microsoft.
Oh, okay. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, there's really nothing else there. Anyway, yeah, so that was just to kind of give you an example of the kind of widgets that you had access to. So it seems like, for the most part, if you can't find a widget here to display some variable or manipulate some variable, you just can't do it, I guess. So anyway, and they're, they've kind of got things blocked up here as, what the things are. But there is a wiki for it. And
yeah, so is I guess the question I have is, how do you assemble them? Are they just assembling it in Scratch?
No, I think you and I haven't looked into the SDK yet. But I think it's like you basically select which widgets you want, you select where they're displayed on the screen. Because you can get several widgets on the screen at the same time.
Each widget has properties, yeah.
Yeah, and then you associate the widget with whatever variable you're sending, and and I'm assuming most of that's probably done through Wi-Fi. But like I said, I haven't looked into it yet. But anyway. Yeah, that's really about the only thing that's useful there, just the individual widgets.
Cool.
Anyway.
All right, thanks. I put some more links in the chat for that after seeing the link. Thanks, Ray.
Sure.
I think, James, you had another thing too?
Yeah, I just have a quick question for the group. If I want to correct the colors on this for processing, is OpenCV what it should be?
Yes.
Any opinion on that? Is
Yes.
Okay. That's what I kind of thought. So
yeah,
got another subject to learn here.
Mhm.
Could you do it with something like a Pixie Cam? I mean, a Pixie Cam can
Yeah,
recognize a lot of colors.
Pixie
really
could do
quick.
it. Pixie could do it too.
Yeah.
Pixie could
It's
do it.
called a Pixie, P-I-X-E.
I would say, Ray, that's probably the easiest way because you got enough
Yeah.
color selection. So what you would do, James, is you'd get a Pixie and you'd define, I think a Rubik's Cube has what, 6 colors in it?
Yeah,
6 sides, yeah.
Yeah, 6 sides. So 6 colors. So you would
Yeah.
you would essentially select 6 blobs. And then when you took a picture of the side, you would use the centroid of each blob that it found.
Oh, okay. I got
Okay,
you.
so it would be, that would be the way to go.
And I can capture those and set those up like in a 3-dimensional array, I'm presuming? Because it'd be,
No, you wouldn't. Well, when you interpreted okay, all right. So the Pixie would see on a screen. If you looked at the screen on the Pixie, what it would show is that it would show that it saw 6 blobs or 9 blobs. I'm sorry, and it would, and then you would just see 9 squares. All right, and using their SDK, you can get the width, the height, the centroid, and where they are. So you would just map the centroids to the 9 potential squares that you would have in your side, and you'd know it. That'd be Ray's right. That would be the absolute easiest way to do it.
And
You'd hardly have to code anything on that.
Yeah, it'd probably run a lot fast. It'd probably work a lot faster than OpenCV too. OpenCV, I think, is kind of over.
Yeah, a similar option. Similar option is the OpenMV cam. It's a lot like the Pixie. It's a little more powerful.
Yeah.
what's it called, OpenMV?
Yeah.
Yes, OpenMV cam.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Ted, I didn't see you there.
Sounds
Hey,
cool.
yeah.
OpenMV H7 is, I think, the latest one, and there's an H7 Plus, but I think he's kind of been plagued with chip shortages. I don't even know if well, you can probably get them in distributors. I don't think you can get them from OpenMV directly because I don't think they have any stock anymore. But
If Pixie, is that the name of the company?
No, it's Charmed
name of the camera.
Charmed Labs.
Charm Lab.
Charmed, like a charm. Charmed Labs.
All right. That's all I
And you
got.
probably
Carl.
want the Pixie 2,
Yeah.
Pixie too?
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Adafruit has the OpenMV cam in stock.
Do they? Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that may be stale information, but for a while there, he was saying, go to the distributors. So.
Well, cool. Well, I think based on that, if there's no one else, Doug, why don't we get started on your discussion?
Okay. Well, all right.
Sorry.
Okay. Let me grab the chat then for a bit here. Give me a second. Trying to figure out. Okay.
Little xylophone music in the background there.
Let's see here. Okay.
Or maybe steel drums. I don't know. Couldn't tell.
Okay. All right. Generally, how we try to do the May competition, it's an indoor competition. We try to have two beginner comps, 2 medium comps, and 2 advanced comps, so that no matter where you come from on this journey that you are into robotics, that you can come in and have some fun in a competition. So let me explain the competitions, and you guys kind of just listen to this and see what you think about it. Let's see here. Okay. All right. Plastic fastener only sumos was something that we did for young people, teenagers. So it's probably not one, because I don't think anybody here is a real Legoite. It was made with generally Legos or Vex, I don't know, IQ parts or something like that. So that one's out. So the next one is a beginning one, or can be. This one can actually go all the way from beginning to advanced. The beginner level is line following, which is a pretty simple course. It just has straights and 90-degree, gentle 6-inch diameter quarter circle turns. Now they can be, it's made up of a series of blocks, and there's quite a few blocks that you can go on. I guess I could go there and look.
Maybe you could open the graphic for us, Doug.
Yeah, probably. I think. Oops.
I mean, we have good visuals in the PDFs there.
Yeah, give me a second. Okay. So, in the novice or beginner, you only have straights, curves, or double curves. Okay, that's all you have. This is a little obsolete, but it's all of the pertinent information is correct. Otherwise, the lines are 3/4 inch. They're not made of black electrical tape anymore. We actually buy the course from a vinyl maker, and the courses will be made, and it's generally 300 inches long, and you're required to go around the course twice. You have a maximum time limit of 3 minutes, which in general is very gracious. And we don't want to see pre-made line following robots in this. Otherwise, the robot that we're looking for is one that you've made, not necessarily a kit that you bought from Pololu. Okay, so that's one restriction that's on the line following. All right, the next little step up is advanced, and this is a little tricky, but it doesn't really require a whole lot of different programming. It requires probably more careful programming. And here you have the ability to have offset adjacent tiles. You have 90-degree turns. You have gap S curves. You have a 5-inch gap, which usually separates the men from the boys right there. And then a notch. And then it also has straights and curves and double curves. All right. Then the next level is challenge, which has all of the previous plus acute, bumps, intersection, and a gate. Line color changes, stains, line width changes. And the answer to that one is, this is the course. This is what the course looks like. And so far, nobody has beat this course. This is unbeaten so far.
Without resets or...
Yeah, without resets in the middle. Yeah, well, as soon as somebody does it complete, Carl, that'll be an honest, true
I know
victory,
what you're saying.
true victory. But so Yes, right. We've had some people get through it with 2 or 3 resets. A reset is when it's sort of like a golfer's, what is it when you take a penalty stroke?
Mulligan or something.
Yeah, you reset, and you can move on from there. So
You don't
anyway,
want to go to the water feature and get your ball out.
yeah, sort of like that.
That would be a mulligan.
Well, I thought a mulligan was when you did a woof.
I think mulligan is probably the generic thing. I'm just going to do this over.
Mulligan is a do-over.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, no, these aren't do-overs because they would start at the location that they were. All right. So like if you made it to 10 squares and then you failed, then you'd start your robot on the 10th square and go again from there and ideally get through. All right. So that's line following.
And we have, by the way, don't forget that we have a simulator. If anybody, we ran this contest virtually one year, and there's a pretty cool processing-based, Java-based environment if you'd like to try your algorithmic capabilities out.
Yeah, first year of COVID, first year or second year, probably. I don't know. Any one of the years we ran a simulated line following challenge course. We did all of them: beginners, advanced, and challenge. That was a lot of fun. And
I'll put a link to the GitHub up there for that one.
Okay, good. And okay, the next one is classic, tabletop classic. And on this one, you have a course that looks like this, where you have a starting area and a starting line, and you have to start. Okay, I can't remember. I can't remember if you start in the starting area. Yeah, I think you start in the starting area. I don't know. I think you had an option. I can't remember what. But essentially, you have to there's 3 cans out here in this area, and you have to knock 1 can off of it.
Table.
Off the table. Yeah, thank you, Craig. And then you have over here is like a shoebox sized box that's overhanging the edge. So now you have to kick something off the edge of the table, but you have to kick it into a specific location. Okay, let's see what is. Guys, I haven't done this one in a long time, so it's taken me a while. Okay, it must cross the table and hang a portion of the robot over the edge on the opposite of the starting line. Then return past the starting line. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Okay, so you got to start somewhere in here, go over here and hang your toes or whatever, some part of your robot over the edge of the table without the whole thing going over the table. And then you have to go and grab one of the cans. So this might only have 2 cans. And got to knock a can off, and then you got to put a can in the box. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Okay. So this one only has 2 soda cans. Okay, and the soda cans can be anywhere on the table. So, I mean, you can't.
And there's no padding on the floor.
You can't place them. Yeah, and there's no padding on the floor. So, this is the measure of your coolness on this one, because if your robot's going to go over there and hang 10 on the other side of the board, you got to have enough confidence to just sit there and say, well, let's do in task 1, as opposed to being over there going, and trying to catch it. So this one works better for non-acrylic robots, because that if they fall, they tend to break. So this is called tabletop, classic tabletop. All right, so Come on. You can see right now I'm going to be going back and forth. Okay, let's get here. Come on. There we go. Then the next one up is called Big Tabletop 2. And this one, okay, so here's another, this is another example of where a robot, where the contest became people who liked it wanted to move to a more advanced. So in this one, you have a whole bunch of cans on the table. Oh, five empty cans. And you knock a can off the table. You place a can in the box, same box that we had before. Return a can to the starting location. And then you take the other two cans and line them up in a line that's less than 36 inches so that you can put a yardstick on it, on the three cans. So you got one can in the starting zone and the other two cans have to be in a line, and they have to be at least 8 inches apart, and a 1 inch wide yardstick should be able to land to do on all cans. And this is, you know, this is a pretty good challenge. It's been done by several people. It's a lot of fun. So that's another. So the first one was kind of a beginner class, or might even be moving into the intermediate. And then this one is pretty much an intermediate to advanced. It's not like the challenge line following, but it's definitely can be a challenge. The next one is four corners. This is considered a beginner one. And what you do here, your course looks like this. You have 4 corner markers, and they can be anywhere between 8 and 15. And we typically try to be greater than 8. So I think last time we did it, it was 12. And you start over in anywhere you want on the corners or wherever you start, you have to go all the way around and come back to where you started. And what they do, the judge will mark the front of your robot, not the robot, but where it was when you started. And then when you go all the way around, it'll mark where you stop, and it'll measure the distance between the two marks. Okay. So every year we do this, we get different results. I think the last time that this was run, the best run was under an inch, but I think it was somewhere between a ½ inch and an inch. I'd have to look at the Hall of Fame. By the way, on the website is the Hall of Fame, where you can go back and look at what the results for all the previous runs were. The best that I've ever seen was done by a gentleman who actually took a John Deere tractor toy and modified it. And he was using an acoustical system that had 3 speakers, and he was using the reflective waves to triangulate. And not triangulate, whatever GPSs do. It's not triangulate. I don't think it's something, but it's like that. And he got, I want to say he was right around a 1/4 inch, maybe 3/8. So you can, this looks simple, but if you do it really well, it's not a fall off the
Bar stool.
Bar stool, yeah. So the next one has always been fun till Carl ruined it. This one is quick trip, and basically this course looks like this. And you start in between these 2 lines. You can see there's 12 feet distance between it. And you run over to here. And wherever you stop motion. I can't remember the scoring, but being in the center gets you more points. Being over here, I think, gets you less points. Getting out here doesn't get you any points. If you're over here, you don't get any points. So originally, most robots would come to here, turn around, and come back. But Carl has I don't know what you call it, bidirectional robot. So his just goes up here and then comes
Making the
straight back.
wheels.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he did it with a club.
Oh no, it was with
robot.
Mechanim wheels.
Oh,
Was it Mechanim wheels?
I did it both ways. I did it with Mechanim wheels and I did it with the other one. But the
Yeah.
Mechanim wheels pirouettes when it does it.
Yeah. So anyway, the trick would be to start here, go to here, and come here in the fastest time of all the people. You say, well, so what, you got to remember, these contests are built to build skills. Line following is probably where people first get introduced to PIDs. Tabletop is going to be can recognition probably, and real good odometry. This one is going to be where a person learns that his robot can go straight and can make a turn. That was the intent, is that you would go up and turn 180 degrees and come back. So you learn your robot has to have two skills. It has to be able to turn 180 degrees. And you can do the math. If you were perfectly in the center over here and you were off half a degree, I think you end up over here somewhere. Okay. So you really have to be able to turn correctly to get back into here. So anyway, so that's what Quick Trip is. Can soccer is the next one. This one is a perennial favorite. We really like it. You get essentially, well, okay, this is the more advanced level. This one has two robots starting at the opposite goals of an arena, and they essentially race to put more than their opponent of the 6 cans that are randomly placed on the course. The course looks like this. Get it down here somewhere. Okay, here's an example of the course right here. You can see what it looks like. So there'll be cans. We do not use these corner boards anymore. So you can see they have corner boards, but we took those out. I think we lost them. And so now there are truly deep corners in the corners. And so you'd have one robot here, one robot over there, and they would race who would bring the most cans outside their goal. Is that right? No, the opponent's goal. It's the opponent's goal, right? Otherwise, if you're here, your goal is over there. And if you're over there, your goal is over here. Race the champion and putting the cans in the wrong goal. So we know that for a fact. So
claim to fame, yeah.
His claim to fame. But he's also successfully completed this and done one contest. So let's see. Then the next one is 5-spot. Okay, let me think. I think I know what this one is. Okay, this one, the floor of the room is marked in the 4 corners and one in the approximate center. So it looks, you think about it as basically a rectangular room. And you have in each corner, fairly close to the wall, you have a can and you have one in the center. And your job is to go ahead and grab those cans and put them somewhere, I believe. Oh, no. Okay. Now, in this one, you just have to, I'm sorry, I told you wrong. This just has quarter circles marked in the corners and a circle in the center. And you have to drive to each of those 5 locations. Okay. The trick is the room is not cleared out. So all of the obstacles,
Chairs,
tables, whatever,
wires.
spectators, whatever, are going to be there and get away.
Popsicle sticks.
Yeah.
Popsicle sticks.
Yeah. So that one we haven't run in a while. Obviously, that one of the things that a lot of people like to try with this one is wall following. Okay. But it can't, obviously you can't get the one that's in the center with the wall following, but it's probably an odometry test. 6-can is the other arena one. This is the one we'll probably run. And in the same arena that you saw before, right here. But here, you're by yourself. You're not competing against another robot. And you have 6 cans sitting out there, and you essentially have to drive to them. Okay, we have not had a lot of interest in sumo, but if this is a classic contest for robots, it's very big in Japan. That's why I guess it got its name. But you essentially run on a circular. I don't know if we have a picture because it's really saying the rules are over here. But you're allowed to have a robot that is, I believe, 10 centimeters on a side, and it has a weight. I'm not sure what the weight limit is. And you try to push another robot out of, there's a sumo course.
So if you look at my screen, this is one that, and I can share, you can get these printed up if you want for your own at home. This is using our vinyl course method, and this is what the thing looks like. So you just lay it on the floor, put the robots down on top of it, and 2 robots head to head or more, I guess, and they want to, the goal is to push the other one out of the ring and have yours remain in the ring.
Yeah. Now, our actual competition ring actually stands up about a ½ inch. That way, so there's no question whether or not you flipped out or not. So, but the practice ring that Carl's got there is definitely, it's only a few bucks too, isn't it, Carl?
It's I think it's less than 10.
Yeah.
The place we use for these is like $1.75 a square foot, and this particular one is, let's say, 3 feet by 3 feet. So 9 square feet times $1.75. There you go.
Yeah, more than $10.
And that's delivered to your door.
Yeah, and they do good quality work.
And we have instructions on that in the line following course GitHub repo too.
Yeah. Okay, now the line following competition is meant to be a beginner's course, and it's done when we have the can arena out. And what the robot does is there's a 12-inch limit around this area, and your robot has to make this path right here and stay within this 12-inch limit. Okay, so this is 2 things you can take out of this. This is really meant to be for smaller robots, probably 8 inches by 8 inches or smaller. 6-inch robot would be probably good too. And it's simply for people who want to try line following. This is the course that they do. Now, there's always a spoiler. Well, this course was spoiled by Scott Gibson, who has very good control of his robots, and he essentially mapped this out and did it with odometry. And yeah, you can do it with odometry, but that kind of defeats the purpose of the course. So we could, if we were to decide on doing this one, I'd probably say it has to have a line following function. Okay.
I thought he used LiDAR, no?
No. He didn't.
Oh.
He just did straight odometry.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. This is one that we've never actually ran because it's this would be an advanced one. And essentially you have 5 objects. This is what they look like. And what you try to do, these 5 objects are randomly placed in the room. And obviously, depending on the judges are going to make it easier if it's going to be a beginning group. If it's harder, they probably won't see one of them. And your job is to go find these objects and bring them back to home base. So somewhere in the room with all the obstacles, these 5 objects would be hidden, and you would have to go bring it back. So, right. Okay, this is Donkey Car. And actually, Donkey Car was a project where you could get code and everything from it, and it was really pretty nice. They tried to monetize it, and when they did that, they kind of made it a little bit complex to use, but you could still work it out. But in this case, you have a course that's defined by 2 blue lines, and this is just a sample shape. It's not, and you can actually see this one of these courses online. There's a starting line, and these are little red cones. And you have to drive inside this blue line. And as many times as you can in a minute, I believe, or 3 minutes. I can't remember what the time is. Let's see, we can go here.
Yeah, I can't remember if it tells you the number of samples, but I thought they recommended like 10,000 samples.
Yeah. A single run. Oh, no. Oh, come on. Keep going, Doug. If you hit the cone, you're allowed to hit up to 3 cones before you get cut off. And anyway, you have to run. I can't remember. Last time we ran this, it was how many laps you could do in some sort of time. I can't remember. And then, let's see, freestyle, open style. Okay, this is the freestyle means what you're trying to do is you design your robot and you want it to have, this was, I think it must be on autonomous. It must be built by hobby roboticists, and it must exist in a physical form, i.e. you can't just design this. You got to actually have a robot. And you link a video before the competition saying that you want to be in the competition. And it's essentially, they're judged by online attendees that of all that have viewed the things, and it's an audience favorite competition. So sort of like a beauty contest. So this was really probably, I don't know if we'll ever run that one again. That was more of a COVID thing. And then the virtual line following. This was the one that Carl was saying. And if you're interested in line following, then this one is the rules for the simulator contest. And it probably has some links in it.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, we compiled it all in there, not just the one I posted.
Yeah.
Good.
Somewhere. So anyway, this is the rules for the competition. And that was a lot of fun. The problem is that it would be fun for people who haven't run the competition before. People who have run the competition before would have a big leg up because they've already played with it quite a bit. And, they could probably run their last year's model easily and nobody could beat them. You know what I mean? But it is something that something worth considering. It's
also
definitely
low cost, really low cost, because if you have a computer, that's all you need to buy. You just time on your computer.
Well, the real cool thing is it allows you to test out sensor placement, impact of sensor placement, and also and your algorithm to run your line follower. And that's really if you're going to want to run line following contests, this simulator is a big help. All right, guys, do you remember all of those? I hope so. So I would suggest we go with 2 beginners, maybe 2 intermediates, and at least 1 advanced, maybe 2 advanced. How do you guys feel about it? Does that sound like a reasonable? First of all, who's interested in a competition? Raise their hand so I can kind of see. Oh, John, you're not interested? Oh, okay. Doug, you're not interested?
Sorry, I'm going to focus on my other projects.
I got you. Well, I mean, that's legit.
I'm planning to do a team. So if you have a nephew or a niece, you could do a team, right?
Oh yeah.
So
There's no reason why you have to do this by yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this is my excuse to keep going with other projects is to put a lot of heavy workload on the nephew.
I will say this though. We give a prize, and if you're in a team, you only get 1 prize. You can't everybody get a prize. Okay. So you guys have to decide in your team how you want to do that. So
nephew.
You mean this isn't a participation trophy? Come on.
No. No. Most of what we're trying to do now is most of the newer contests have some where you have to at least get a point to get otherwise we've actually had people, enter a brick, and the intent was that, well, I get 3rd prize because there weren't very many people in this contest. And so now they have to their brick has to at least get a point. Okay. Or there's usually a minimum requirement. So, anyway, does anybody have any preference on contests? Okay, Pat.
Either can or 6 can.
Yeah. What are you about, Pat?
I would like to set up a remote can here at my house.
Okay, so can. We got.
Yeah, if it's something I can do inside my house, I can present live on competition day. Oh,
that'd be fantastic. Okay. Oh, we're not saying can soccer because you're by yourself. So what we're really saying is six cans, right?
Yes, correct. Not can. Sorry, 6 cans.
Yeah, 6 cans. Okay.
It's hard to play against a team by myself.
Yeah, Ray, that was what you were saying too, wasn't it? Did you want
It doesn't matter either one. I guess down here we have
Yeah.
Probably competitors, but
Yeah.
if you want to do
Well, we can always
that's
decide
fine.
that at on the actual day if you guys are all filling your oats or whatever.
I can actually do a can competition, and I'll just use like a 3-inch block for the competitor robot.
No, it's not. Believe me, that's not the same.
Well, you never know. It might be the 3-inch block that wins.
The 3-inch block is technically not an entrant in the competition, so it can be just a brick. So,
so anyway, okay. So that we got one contest for sure. All right.
I was the other one I thought I'd be interested in is the tabletop. I think it is where you do all the different competitions with the cans.
Mm.
So the problem I have is that I don't have a table that is 60 inches wide.
Yeah. So let me explain how that worked. We took
2 3-foot by 6-foot tables and put them side by side.
I think so. And actually it was made up of 2 pieces of plywood, I think, painted white. Okay, Pat?
Yep.
So I know you got wood up there.
You know what the price of plywood is?
Anyway, I think what we did is we took whatever 60 is 5 feet. So it's 5 feet by 5 feet. Yeah. I don't know. The actual, that particular arena was made by John K. So one of the things that an alternative, Pat, is do you have like one of those pong tables or conference tables or church tables or whatever they call them, the white plastic ones that are, I think they're 8 feet by 2.5 feet.
I've got one that's like 3 by 6 or 3 by 7, something like that.
Okay, yeah. Well, what we could do is because that was what was originally used back in the day. Okay. And the reason we went to a bigger table was because we were showing this at bigger venues. Okay. And it also allows you to have a little more space to set it up. So we could redraw a rule for that. If you drop me a line with what type of table you got, okay, what the size of it is.
Yeah.
I'll put that as an option in the rules.
Okay.
All right. So, but that kind of limits you to the easier of the 2 contests. Okay. Unless you want to try for the hard one, but that's going to be 5 cans on a table like that. It's going to be you're going to have a pretty small robot.
No, if I do the 6 can competition, I'll do it on the floor. So I'll build an arena, whatever it is, 7 by 10 on the floor. I'll move the furniture out, and I'll still do like a live broadcast.
Well, wait a minute. Well, that's another way we could do it. Though you really would miss out on the joy of watching your robot almost fall over. The first time I did this, my robot fell off the edge of it and went. I had several robot extra parts after that, but luckily it still functioned. Yeah, that's when I stopped making robots out of acrylic. So, but anyway, we'll figure out a solution. So, which one are you interested in? The simpler of the 2, or the more?
Well, I'm already working. I already got to start on 6 can.
Okay. Yeah, you can use the same robot.
So, well, that's what I was thinking as well. But
yeah.
Unless you break it, the 6 can or the tabletop. Which one is tougher?
They're different. They're different. I would say 6 can myself.
Because that's the one I was getting geared up for was 6 can.
Okay. Yeah. The other one, if you do the more complex one where you have to line up 3 cans in a row, that one's pretty complex too. But
Yeah.
it's different complex, you know what I mean? It's a different thing altogether.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyway, so are you still interested in the tabletop?
Well, if you're going to do a 6 can, I'll do the 6 can.
Okay, all right.
It's fairly cheap to build an arena out of some 1/4 inch plywood, and
Yeah. Okay.
does the floor have to be white?
No, it can be any color, but the color in the, there was no specification. The only rule was you couldn't damage the floor.
Okay. Well, my wife will kill me if I damage the floor.
Yeah. Okay, so
So can you put it on carpet if you wanted to? As
you
a minor
could,
thought.
you could, but you since most people are using odometry, at least to some extent, the carpet's going to screw you up.
I know. I just threw that out as a thought that, hey, man, no bare floor.
Yeah.
A hardwood floor is much easier to work with than a carpet for odometry.
Yeah. So, all right. So we haven't got any beginner per se.
So are we going to do like the 4-corner thing or the 5-corner, whatever you want to call it?
Okay,
The
4-corner
thing.
I like that one because I think depending, there's the good side about that is that a beginner can participate and a person who's advanced can participate. And, so it's still a lot of fun.
And that's why I said 4 corners or 5 corners or a variation of it.
Doug, I bet if you did 4 corners, and I bet if you wanted to throw in the advanced line follower, I bet I could scare up a participant for that one.
Advanced? Oh, you want to do beginner too?
You might as well, but yeah. But I'm pretty sure this kid could do the beginner without a hesitation. So I want to throw the advanced at him.
Well, Jim bought the stream, one of my followers who paid me 50,000 channel points to throw together a robot with a cricket on top of it, and a Cricket Express, Clicker Express. I believe he was anticipating a 4 square because I think he wants me to enter the robot in a finca of him that we built the thing. So I've got that, and I could certainly do my Zemo rover. It can certainly go to 4 corners and spin in place and do things. So I got a couple of robots I could enter on that.
Cool.
Okay, wait a minute now. Let's make sure we understand. 4 corners where you have the 4 posts and you're going around a big square. Is that what we're all?
Yeah,
exactly.
Only thing I was throwing in is say, hey, if you wanted to add to it, after it does 4 corners, it could go like do an X across the spots or something. That's why I was saying 5 spots or whatever.
Okay.
Or you could actually do a little more than 4 spots.
Well, let's keep it simple to start with.
Isn't 4 corners the one where Harold wears an orange shirt in the middle of the arena?
Yes, that's the one. That's the exact one. And I've got to go get another orange shirt because my wife has thrown away the last one. I think somebody called her from this club and said, you need to get rid of that. But I can't prove that. I'm just saying.
Okay.
That's sad.
Okay. All right. So I've got 6 cans, 4 corners, and beginner/advanced line following. Okay.
That would be sufficient in reality, in my mind. That'll cover a lot of bases if we just do the 3.
Oh, okay. That 6 can is kind of an advanced, and 4 corners is, and the line following is kind of a beginner, and 4 corners is kind of any level you want to make it. Sounds good. Okay.
And we're aiming for, it sounds like, in May?
Yeah, I think so.
Or a little beyond.
Probably May.
Okay.
I'm hoping not beyond. I'm heading west again in mid-June.
Okay. Yeah. And the trick here, guys, is to see if we can beat Scott's score, which I can't remember what it was, but it was fast. So we need to figure out how to do that.
A little more than a minute and a half, I think.
That's what I thought, like a minute 36 or something.
Yeah. So anyway, okay. So we'll go with 3-3. And if anybody sees anything they want to join in with. And now I encourage everybody to try to run in the competitions because they're a lot of fun. And we also give prizes, which may or may not this group may not be a big incentive, but it can be fun. So anyway, I'm just saying it's sometimes easier to build your robot to a goal, otherwise to figure out, well, okay, I got me something. In May, I'm going to be able to do, okay, so if you want to do 4 corners, I'm going to be able to do accurate straight lines and accurate turns. And that's what I need to be able to do. And build your robot and make sure you have those skills in your robot. And then you can easily enter 4 corners. Line following, there's so much on the web on line following that it's a good, good place. Beginner would be a snap from what a person picks up on the line on the web. Advanced is a little tricky. Okay, I guess that's all I had to say. I got something to go right up and put it in on our next competition page.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And we can start to lock a date in or something. Just pencil it in at least.
Yep. Okay.
And probably want to reserve the room or whatever.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
I will recommend it, even though I was going to say last time, I think they're planning to do something at like the end of April, but at least I saw something the other day on the wall that they're having some type of all-day thing. But I wouldn't say that's in April.
Okay. Well, the main thing is I don't think they'll allow you to get too far in advance. If I remember right, they only let you
spread out pretty far there.
Really?
The thing is,
Okay.
yeah.
It used to be like a 3-month window you could advance. You could reserve it. This is the Dallas Makerspace guys we're talking about. But
yeah.
Well, glance at their calendar. You'll see what I'm
Okay.
talking about.
Okay. And also, we're also open to anybody who has any ideas for a new contest. If they talk it over with me, separate conversation, and I'll try to take the idea and draw up some rules and see how it flies. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Doug.
I have a question for Harold, because in my case, I actually did get a sensor in. But the key is, I don't know if this sensor will work. So, I don't know if you can all read this if I do it. But anyway, it's a DFW sys asset sensor. So it's an FERMIONICO 20660. So, Harold, do you use that sensor, or do you use some other sensor in your balancing robot, the 2-wheel?
I'm doing the old and very commonplace 650 MPU.
Okay, yeah, because that's why I was seeing those numbers, but the catch was it wasn't in stock. So I found this off of the DF robot one.
I've been watching Adafruit a lot, and they've been watching their new stuff, and they're re-releasing a number of their boards, but they're the same boards they've had before, but they've been redone to match the parts they can get to do it. So they're rebuilding them and re-releasing them. A lot of the stuff is coming out in the new.
So let me share a window. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about and see if you have any ideas if this will work as a substitute. Once I can find my...
So while you're doing that, Adafruit has announced that AdaBox, they have all the parts for all 4 quarters for this year. So if you're an AdaBox subscriber, which I happen to be one, we should get 4 AdaBoxes this year, starting in March, which is pretty cool.
So that's the thing that I got. So the question is, do you think it will work as a substitute?
I don't see why not. 16-bit ADCs, 3 accelerometers, 3 gyroscope. Yeah, I mean, I'm not using anything more than that in this little battle spot.
Okay, I didn't know how your was going along or not, but
yeah, I've kind of put all the bots on hold till I got some software work on my Mr. Big Head. I've got to understand how to do channel points and bits and things and that kind of stuff, and have my robot, my I can't say it's AI, but my chat bot companion here on my Twitch stream be a little more smart. And we've been working on that the last few weeks.
Okay.
Still learning stuff different ways, but
and roughly it would look, well, in my case, I may change up the design a little bit. I don't know if you saw this website, by the way, but this one that's pretty good. I mean, they have it, you know, it looks like he has it balancing pretty good, uses those relatively cheap motors.
Yeah.
And
Did it
that
just take a tumble there?
a little.
Looks like it did. I mean,
Yeah.
it's over rough ground too, that's probably,
yeah.
that's
For the
promising with the rough ground.
But he talks, you know, about those 3 and how to balance and that. So that's why I was saying it looks like a pretty good one overall. But the catch is they were using a different sensor. So that's why I was wondering that my diff one will work. But so did he bounce there?
God, he's like a squirrel in the middle of the road, you know?
So yeah.
No, don't go left.
So anyway, so there was that one. So I think that was. Oh, and then there was this thing I found. I don't know if anybody's interested in it, but I'll bring this up indirectly. That this is a good instructables for, you know, the drawing on the wall thing. That a couple
yeah, the Go Cuppy. Well, I say Go Cuppy. That one of the cats that used to work behind the counters at Tanner's.
Right. Yeah, he had built one. Yeah. In fact, he was selling some modules that were 3D printed and that, but that was a couple years back.
Yeah, that was a little while ago.
So this one looks pretty good, and the key is it doesn't require external too much. I mean, he really goes into good detail.
That's actually kind of cool. I could use a link for one of those because just, you know, what the heck? I'm at the office doing some stuff. Believe it or not, people at the office, when they need something made or something off the wall, literally, they usually come to me for whatever reason. I wouldn't know why they would do such a thing, but you know.
So it seemingly he has he goes into pretty good steps. It looks like this is a pretty good one. So I mean, and that's the software he basically uses for it.
John, can you put the links in the chat?
Yeah,
that one I can. I think they're both there. I will. Okay, as I said, this, you know, he looks like he goes into very good detail about steps, even to this shield that you can get relatively cheap, but you have to modify.
Well, you know what's funny? What's funny about that? I got a for a Christmas present to myself and something we're going to build on the stream. We got one of the MakeBot Megas, the one with the Buchanan wheels. I showed it to you last time 4, something like that. And that Mega Pi that's in there looks very similar to that board right there. and well, only and because it has it's a little bit different because the Mega is actually on the board, not a submodule like that Nano is. But it takes 4 stepper motors and a few other things. I'm like,
Right.
effectively, this thing is a printer, you know. Or
Yeah, well, he even talks about the fact that it has like 80 steps in there, and that yeah. So that's why I said this looks like a very good article. Yeah, if you're into this. But yeah, I'll post the link.
yeah, send it on.
Where'd that go next?
Oh, and while you're posting the link,
Yeah, let me hop so y'all can.
I now have a new official uniform for my Twitch stream, and probably most of my presentations going forward. This is a Harold and Debbie creation of a Dickies lab coat. We tie-dyed these on Saturday, and I am just ready to be creative.
You got to put those for sale, dude. That's rocking.
You know, these are a pain in the ass to make. I don't know if I want to sell it.
If you had one of those Back to the Future clear plastic ties to go with it, necktie, that would be.
You're killing me, man. That's awesome. I've been looking while I've been standing over here. I've been looking for 3D printed pocket protectors to see if I can find a cool one to stick in there. You know.
Or you get a Max Headroom wig, and you'd be in top dollar shape there.
So I posted the 2 links, so you can see they're in the board thing.
Okay.
It's kind of interesting. It almost looks like you got a spiral pattern on the back there.
Yeah, it has. In fact, that's what it is, and that's what it was supposed to be. I got a little Fibonacci stuff working for me, I guess. You know that the thing, and what literally you lay out this thing flat, because I'm still figuring things out. You lay it out flat on the table, as flat as you want, then pick where you want that thing to be, whether higher or lower, and you just start twisting and twisting and twisting and spiral it. When you get it all spiraled up into a big round thing, you put a bunch of rubber bands. I put 8 of them on there, so it kind of sectioned it off, and then I colored each one of them to get that thing on it.
So who here is tie-dyed their own T-shirts? I did when I was a kid.
I've done
Nobody?
Oh, this is my first tie-dyeing ever. The wife used to do it all the time.
As a kid, maybe.
That was a big thing back in like the 70s, you know?
Yeah, it was. I will tell you, though, if you'd like to try this on your own, if you go to any hobby town, they have one section over there. It's probably about, it's where your fabric, they got paints and everything else, but they got a section there that's probably about a yard and a half long. That's from floor to ceiling. There is tie-dye stuff and kits. Like literally, you can go buy a plastic kit that's got the plastic bag, the rubber bands, the gloves for you, and a set of colors. And it comes complete with a thing that says, here's some ideas of what you can do with the tie-dye, which is where I got this idea from. And it is kind of fun, but it says this is good for 12 projects. They are lying. They are lying. Between this one and let me show you my wife's shirt. She's really happy with. Hold on.
I would think the number of projects is directly related to the size of the projects.
Yeah, well, yeah, some of that. Well, I've got. The Dickies lab coat is really long, and it took a lot of extra. We know that. She's a little more advanced than I am on this, and it's specifically if you look at the shoulder, because she did some other twisty tie things on there in a couple of places, and you'll notice she started drawing like a little hearts in places when she did hers, and I was not as creative. No, it's not as creative as she was. But anyway, it was a fun thing to do on a Saturday with the wife, and she didn't yell at me, so it was a bonus.
Oh, Carl, completely unrelated here. I just noticed that I told you about that open ALPR software that I was using for my license plate reader. Used to be free. I thought it basically had gone by the wayside, but I just noticed they have a website now, a company called REKOR. They've monetized it, and they're now selling it as a product. So I don't know. The last time I downloaded it under Linux, I downloaded it on a Buster-based Raspberry Pi, but when I tried to do it on a Bullseye-based Pi, I couldn't find the library anywhere. So I don't know if there's still a free version of it available somewhere out in the void, or if they managed to pull it all in.
You know, it's so interesting to me to follow this stuff, because whether it's the ALPR things like you mentioned, or I look now at just the last few months at all these generative AI things where you give a text prompt and it creates a painting or a picture, or you create a text prompt and it writes an essay for you or a blog story, or the one that came out surfaced a couple of days ago, Microsoft Volley, or something. I don't know. I have to look up the name, but basically it'll listen to 3 seconds of you talk, and then it will mimic your voice, apparently pretty darn accurately.
Cool.
So all these, I bet you that this year will be a very, very interesting year for generative AI. Really interesting.
Hey, Grandma, I'm in jail. Send me some bail money.
Oh, God. Please.
Well, and the sad part is that I mean, because that's one of the things that my company does by day is try and help guard against that kind of stuff. And older people, and I mean, no one in this call qualifies, of course, but older people sometimes have a little issue with judgment. So they might not even have a niece or nephew, but they'll get a call from a niece or nephew that needs money, and they'll just wire it.
Yeah, cybercrime is one of my pet peeves, and it's pretty much going exponential in terms of the losses every year. It's getting really ugly now, and the government's going to have to do something. Going to have to do something about it to stop it. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Just too many Nigerian princes out there in the world, I guess.
Oh, but that's the thing, is that's old news. You know, that's nowadays. If you follow any of these, there's a scammer payback channel that you might be interested in watching. Basically, the white hat hackers get together and they do things to pester the scammers, and they make videos out of it. You know, it's kind of entertaining to watch, but it's only a few people doing that. You know, it's not slowing them down at all. They've managed to get one or two of these illegal, the scammer call centers in India. They managed to get them shut down, but they'll open back up within a few weeks. But it's getting really bad, and I wonder how bad it's going to have to get before they start doing something to really combat it.
Well, they're trying with the shaken and stirred, but there's only so much that it's going to accomplish. So shaken and stir are these basically they're protocols for trust for phone calls. And
right, which is why if you get an iPhone now, I don't know how it is on Android, but on an iPhone, it always marks it scam likely. Basically, whenever somebody's trying to mask their number or trying to spoof the number, that's where sure a stir shaking will kick in, and then Apple's phone will flag it.
So my Android phone, typically those won't even ring. It'll just go to, it'll let it go to voicemail. And in the background, I'll get a message saying, hey, a scam call is blocked. Be careful checking your messages.
But it's kind of like the military where somebody develops a defense, and then they develop an offense that goes around it, so it's basically going back and forth continuously. I mean, they just got to start throwing more of these people in jail.
I think cons have been around since the start of time, and this technology is just making it, well, it's the latest iteration of a con.
Well, yeah, but the point that he made about this AI, this generative AI, it's going to start getting pretty ugly. Not just they're not going to be using it just for criminal activity, but for political misinformation. Think of how far they can take that.
Oh boy, well, there's a positive note. We should come up with some robots to combat the generative AI. Wait a minute, I don't know. Okay.
Or well, that'll be one of your future competitions.
There.
Maybe borrowing on is it Mark Rober that builds the glitter bomb packages to defeat porch thieves?
I believe it. I forget the name,
I
but
think it's Mark Rober.
Yeah.
Now the other one I heard
that's a sort of a robot.
They're packaging dog poop.
There's two things I heard on the call center one. So I'm assuming we're pretty much done with this call. We just keep gabbing, but on the robots, and so I'll just pause the recording. But there was two funny things